This review has been made possible by Chevrolet of Naperville. As you know, Chevy has tons of brand new cars and trucks available for purchase, but did you know that they also have a remarkable selection of used cars? Head on over to ChevroletofNaperville.com and look through hundreds of used cars for sale right now. Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2015 Mazda CX-9 Grand Touring. Up front is a 3.7 liter V6, and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now I'm super excited to be driving this here CX-9 for two main reasons. First of all, I love Mazdas. I've owned 5 personally, and I've made it my personal goal to drive every Mazda ever made. So this is checking the 2010s Mazda CX-9 off of my list. But the second reason is the fact that as of the making of this video, October of 2021, Mazda has announced 3 new SUVs that they're bringing to the market. A replacement for the current CX-9 is in the works. So Mazda is doubling down on the SUV game. So I thought it would be fun to go back and review a 6-year-old SUV to hopefully get a better insight on where they're going. But before we get on with the rest of the video, if you are interested in helping out the channel, there are some links in the description below for some products that go towards helping the channel. There is a suction cup license plate from Con Plates. There's a fixed OBD2 Bluetooth sensor to help diagnose your car issues, and there is Cash for Cars that helps you sell your vehicle quickly. Again, if you'd like to help out the channel, please click the links in the description below. Let's get on with the video. So let's get back to that 3.7 liter V6. Well, it's actually a Ford V6, commonly found in the Ford Explorer or other vehicles on the Ford CD3 platform. So this actually rides on a Ford platform, which is shared with the Ford Fusion, Ford Edge, Lincoln MKZ, and Mazda's own Mazda 6. So the nice thing about it being a Ford engine is the fact that it's shared in a lot of the Ford Explorers, which are police vehicles, meaning parts are very easy to find. And they're going to manufacture the parts for a long time because police cars are used for a very long time. Also, I recently reviewed a Mazda 6 with the same engine, and that car at the time of filming had 209,000 miles, and actually, as of the filming of this video, has I believe around 230,000 miles. So this engine is pretty stout, lasting that long. Now we are out here on the test track. Let's get a little bit of an acceleration test. Bada bing, bada boom. The horsepower and torque are very impressive. 274 horsepower and 270 foot-pounds of torque. Fly, get out of here, jeez. So it's actually not a slouch, but something that's impeding the 3.7 liter V6 is that automatic transmission. If you noticed on the pull, there was a slight lag before the transmission actually kicked down to give me all that power. So I'm not a big fan of this 6-speed. However, Mazda still uses 6-speed automatic transmissions. They're fine. This one just seems a lot laggier than their more modern stuff. Last but not least, this here CX-9 is all-wheel drive. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the interior. In front of me, I have 4 physical gauges. On the far left is my fuel. Then I have my tachometer, I have my speedometer on the right, and coolant temperature to the far right. I also get a little digital readout for my trip odometer and vehicle odometer. This vehicle only has 66,000 miles on it, and a little gear selector indicator in the center. On the steering wheel, I have my voice commands, volume, skip track, and phone options, as well as info on the left, and my cruise control settings on the right. This is before Mazda started their now famous radar cruise control system, so unfortunately that can't be found in the 2015 CX-9. I like the steering wheel, however, it is this sort of hard leather / plastic, and it seems to be a bit worn, which is to be expected on an older vehicle. I'm not dissing it because of that, but this material seems to be easily wearable. To the left of me, I have headlight levelers, which are weird. This era of Mazdas have headlight levelers for some reason. Even the Mazda 6 had it. Then I have traction control and my tailgate operation. On the door, I do have my power mirrors, power windows, and power locks. However, they're sort of at this angle and not super close within arm's reach. I feel like I'm piloting the Starship Enterprise with these dials like up in front of me. They're not very ergonomic. I sort of have to reach for them, but they do work and the windows are quick and blah, blah, blah. Now, coming into the center, I have the typical for this era Mazda red LEDs. This is seen in like the Mazda Speed 3, the Mazda 3s, Mazda 6s from the 2000s. And I get my readout for the climate controls as well as my time, passenger temperature, things like that. And then I have two climate control vents, the hazard switch, and my infotainment system. Very basic here. I do have navigation, which is nice, and I do have a USB input, but for some reason, it won't let me play Spotify. It will only let me play Apple Music. Just slightly odd for this day and age. And the navigation is kind of laggy, but that's pretty typical of the era. Below that, I do have my climate controls. Like I said earlier, I have dual zone, as well as fan speed, recirculating, all the necessities, as well as I have heated seats for the front driver and passenger. I also have controls for the rear occupants, which is very, very nice. Because this is a 3-row SUV, that is going to be critical. Then I have a little cubby with a 12-volt outlet, and then we come to the shifter itself. The shifter looks very tacked on. It looks like this was sort of the last thing they did before they shipped these out. And it has this black plastic. However, it's not as bad as like piano black plastic in modern cars where it shows all your fingerprints. This actually does a pretty good job at not showing fingerprints, which is very nice. However, it is an older style of shifter. I call these the jigsaw shifters because there's no button to get it in and out of gear. You just can't go forward or back or left or right into gear. It has to be a combination of left and right, forward and back motions as a safety precaution, and something you don't see in modern Mazdas. Then we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the 2015 CX-9, and I'm gonna give it a pass. This might be the first Mazda to get a pass for the big friggin' bottle test, which is very impressive, especially me being a Mazda fan. I'm always sad when it doesn't pass. So the CX-9 passes the big friggin' bottle test. Then I do have a center console, which is a clamshell opening center console. It opens up from either side, and that's where my USB is found. Now, the seats are pretty comfortable. They are powered. They are memory seats, as well as, like I said earlier, they are heated. Very, very nice. They're finished in this decent leather. It hasn't held up amazingly well, but again, very typical of Mazda from this era. Looks the same as a Mazda 3, Mazda 6, whatever it might be. But speaking of seats, we do have 2 more rows of back seats, so let's do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2015 Mazda CX-9, and a couple of things to note back here. First of all, I do have my own climate controls, which is very nice. I can set it to auto, I can turn it off, and adjust my fan speed. Unfortunately, like minivans, I don't get vents on the ceiling or any other vents past these 2 up here. However, I can control these, so that's fine. I do have a center console here, 2 cup holders, and a little storage area. And this center seat is actually really cushy, something I don't really find in the back of SUVs. Speaking of which, though, I have plenty of leg room. My knees don't hit the front. My head doesn't hit the ceiling. I'm 5'11", and it's comfortable. This is the largest SUV that Mazda made at the time, and the CX-9 has always been the largest SUV that Mazda makes. Even to this day, the CX-9 is the 3-row, where other Mazdas don't really get 3 rows. However, speaking of that 3rd row, let's go shove myself back there. So now we're in the 3rd row of the 2015 Mazda CX-9, and I do have 2 cup holders on either side, but they cannot be larger than a Red Bull can. I mean, I don't know what the heck I would fit back here. I do have tie downs and stuff for if you wanted to remove the rear seat, you could use this as a storage area. My head is starting to hit the ceiling a little bit. My knees are a little smushed by the 2nd row, but I have a 3rd row. If you have tons of kids, or if you just have 2 kids, you know, you have to think about if your kids ever want to bring a friend along, then you're kind of in a bind if you only have 2 rows. So having the 3rd row, at least I have the option of having a 3rd row of seats. As an adult who's not tiny, I don't quite enjoy it back here, but children are going to be totally fine back here. Let's take a quick look at the trunk. So around the back of the CX-9, and here we are in the cargo area. I do have these nice little hooks, very, very nice, as well as I do get a 12-volt outlet that runs off the battery. Fantastic for camping or tire inflation or anything you might need it to do. Again, we have more tie downs here. And I also have this little panel that can be open for extra storage, tow hook in there, and actually a tow strap, which is nice. But that's about it. Not tons of space when the back seats are up, but not bad either. Now we gotta talk about the looks. I'm not super sold on the front end. I think the snout is a little too small. But overall, I think the CX-9 is fine. It's a handsome-ish SUV. It's not going to win any awards. It's definitely not as good looking as the new CX-5. But I guess beggars can't be choosers, and not everyone could win. But now let's get to my final thoughts here on the 2015 Mazda CX-9. Well, I was excited to drive this car because this is the end of the reign of Ford over Mazda. Since 1973, Ford has owned some sort of stake in Mazda. This started off very slowly with sharing supply chains, and the Ford Courier was repurposed for the Mazda Repu, and that was really it for then. But then it started to ramp up in the 90s. The Ford Probe was the MX-6. The Ford Explorer was the Mazda Navajo. The Ranger was the B-Series pickup. The Mazda 3 was the Ford Focus. The Mazda Tribute was the Ford Escape. And there was a bunch of brand sharing. But in 2015, the year this car came out, Ford said no more. And they sold off their last shares in Mazda, releasing Mazda from Ford ownership. And so that's why you will see a very big shift in Mazdas after 2015. Really in 2017, 2 years to kind of gather their thoughts and ideas and come back swinging. And now Mazda's really edging on a luxury brand. I personally own a 2019 Mazda 3 hatchback with all-wheel drive, and I love it. I think it has a very premium feel for not a premium price of $23,000. And so in all reality, this is the last of the Fords from Mazda. This is a Ford in Mazda clothing. And I have to say that there are some certain things I'll miss about the Ford era of Mazda, mainly that V6. I really do enjoy the 3.7. And it passed the big freaking bottle test, so Ford did something right. But I think it was very interesting to look back at this car because now Mazda is teasing us with bringing a new SUV with an inline six to market. It'll be their first 6-cylinder SUV since this. This was the last 6-cylinder SUV they made. The CX-9 now has a 2.5 turbo inline 4. So we'll see. Can it live up to this? Is it going to be better than this? Is the new era for Mazda going to be a good era? I guess time will tell. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Chevy of Naperville for letting me take out their Mazda CX-9. This is one of their used vehicles. They have a bunch of used vehicles on the lot, including a couple C8 Corvettes. So if that's something you're interested in, you can definitely reach out to them. They've been absolutely awesome. I've been working with them for years now, and I've never had a bad experience. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.